Hey guys, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Doing a little movie review here, or just a movie discussion here. Apparently, this is an unpopular opinion, so I'm looking forward to putting my thoughts across about Encanto, this brand new Disney movie. It's interesting. I gotta say, I think this might be one of my least favorite Disney movies that I've seen in a very long time for a number of reasons. I know a lot of people seem to enjoy it. There's also a lot of what can only be described as hubbub about Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is apparently a lyrical god who composed various soundtracks for various Broadway musicals such as In the Heights and Hamilton. Lots of people seem to be obsessed with Hamilton, particularly after it was so big on when it launched on Disney Plus, I think, last year or in 2020 in the midst of lockdown here in Australia at least. And I gotta say, I didn't like this movie at all. I thought this was really bad. I think Disney, ever since they had such a hit with Frozen, and I think there was kind of like Tangled, right? They did Tangled probably around 2010, and Tangled was a fantastic movie that I really enjoyed. I thought really good things about Tangled. I thought it was a really great retelling of Rapunzel, and it was a lot of fun. And I think Tangled in a way seemed to me to be like a testing ground for what Frozen would become. And I think it's undeniable that Frozen is the biggest phenomenon to come out of Disney for a very long time. Like what a resurgence. Because I'm just looking at the Disney animated features, right? So Tangled's there, 2010. We have that kind of post-Renaissance era in the noughties decade, right? So there's The Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Brother Bear, Home on the Range, Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, Bolt, The Princess and the Frog, and then 2010, we kick off the 2010s with Tangled, and then 2012, we have Wreck-It Ralph, another fantastic film, to be honest, and I think this really starts to show like what Disney is doing with their movies, like what they want to do with their movies. These CGI animated movies rivaling Pixar, right? Which, you know, for that decade, for the noughties, Pixar was huge. They made some incredible films, and that was like, you know, because they started in the 90s, and then I think in the 2000s they are their golden age of Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, Ratatouille came out. All of those movies. Toy Story 2 was on the latter end of the 90s. So continuing on, Disney has Big Hero 6 in 2014. That's the one between Wreck-It Ralph. Sorry, it goes Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen in 2013, right? And as we all know, Frozen was financially an enormous success. So critically and commercially, you know, $1 billion gross. That is huge. During its theatrical run, the film was a significant commercial success. This is from Wikipedia, earning $1.28 billion in worldwide box office revenue, overtaking Toy Story 3 to become the highest grossing animated film of all time, and carried its position until it was overtaken by the remake of The Lion King in 2019. Interesting, because I don't know if I count that remake of The Lion King as an animated film, because it was, I mean, I know it's animated, but it's made to look live action. Frozen is now the third highest grossing animated film of all time, followed only by Frozen 2. Frozen 2 is number 2, Lion King 2019 is number 1, Incredibles 2 comes in 4th. And the reason I'm talking about this in relation to Encanto is because I think what Frozen did, because if you look at Big Hero 6, a fantastic film that was also critically acclaimed the next year, $165 million budget, to a $657 million profit, right? That's good. That's a $500 million profit. Sorry, that's a box office of $500 million profit. That's not $1 billion though, right? Next up is Zootopia, which I think is probably my second least favorite, or actually one of my least favorite. That did cross $1 billion. Okay, that crossed $1 billion. And then after Zootopia, you have Moana, phenomenal film. Tangled and Moana, I think, are two of my favorites of the last few years. That definitely didn't hit $1 billion, but it got $645 million, again, on a $150 million budget. Just trying to outline this all for you. Raya and the Last Dragon, the most recent one, I believe was direct to Disney Plus, or pretty much direct to Disney Plus, so it didn't gross too much at the box office because there essentially was no box office. But here's what I think. Because of the success of Frozen, I think Disney has constantly, at least after Big Hero 6, didn't get into the billions, which I guess they want every film to get into the billions now. But after Frozen, I think Disney has been really being like, we want to do another Frozen. We want another movie that is as successful as Frozen, as like culturally distinct as Frozen, which is like set in like it's a Nordic theme, ice kind of theme. We want something like that. Musical, amazing songs that people love, great cast, great performances, universal acclaim and success. Of course they want that with everything, but I think what they found was after they didn't really get another Frozen, they're like, we need to do something like Frozen. That's important. And, I think Moana was definitely that. Moana was absolutely them trying to do another Frozen. Strong lead female character, musical, cultural relevance. That was like an island, like a Polynesian theme, I believe, and like strong nods to that culture and strong importance placed on that culture and representing that culture and diversity and representation, which is very important. I love Moana. I think it's better than Frozen. I think Frozen's fine, but I think Moana is a fantastic movie with an incredible cast, and I really like that. And then they go on to Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Frozen 2, which at that point it feels like, okay, we didn't get the next Frozen with Moana in terms of like box office. We didn't hit $1 billion with it, but we still want that. So let's just literally do Frozen again, which they did with Frozen 2 in 2019. Raya and the Last Dragon was very Asian inspired. And I think again, going for that like representation, diversity, looking at many different cultures and representing many different cultures, which I think is important. And then of course we get to Encanto, their 2021 release, their second for 2021, because Raya did come out in 2021. Encanto did go straight to Disney Plus as well, essentially because of the COVID-19 situation. And this leads me into what I wanted to say about Encanto. I just think that trying to sort of echo the success of Frozen by doing like a family-centric film based on like this Colombian theme. Like I love the representation. I love the diversity. I think that's awesome, as well as the fact, like, same as Moana with the Polynesian culture. I think it's great to see this on screen. And I actually saw this fantastic photo going viral of a little boy in real life who sees, I can't remember the little boy in the movie's name, but he sees the little boy in the movie and he actually looks very similar. And you can see this smile on his face that there's a character on screen that looks exactly like that. That looks exactly like him, sorry. And I think that's why representation in media is so important. So people that aren't, I'm a white guy. Every movie I saw growing up was just a white guy as the main character. Harry Potter, he's a white guy. He's a white guy with brown hair. Nothing wrong with that. But it's true, like there aren't too many movies I can think of that I saw growing up where the main character wasn't just a white straight dude. And I think we need to be exposed to all these different people, and everyone needs to have someone like them in a role model spot. And I applaud Disney for doing that. I think it's incredible that they're doing that kind of work. The movie though, it feels so insular. It feels so derivative of the works that came before it. It feels so following that same formula. I realize these are unpopular opinions. Plus, and this is probably the most unpopular opinion of all, the music sucks. That first song, which is like Welcome to the Family Madrigal. Family Madrigal. This is terrible. I genuinely thought that was one of the most awful songs in the Disney catalog historically. I thought lyrically it was pathetic. I thought it was composed really badly. It just didn't, there was issues with the flow of the lyrics. And the way it was being used for the exposition of the characters I thought was really weird. I just hated that opening song. I didn't think it was good at all, and it put me off on the wrong foot from the moment I started watching. Literally from the second I started watching this movie, I was pretty much not into it at all. And I thought, this sucks. And then there's this song that's supposedly gone totally viral and has charted around the world everywhere. We Don't Talk About Bruno, that is apparently supposed to be like more successful than Let It Go from Frozen. And let's be real, Let It Go from Frozen, that's a banger of a song. That's actually an amazing song. We Don't Talk About Bruno, I don't know, just maybe it's the style of music, I don't know, just didn't gel with me even slightly. There's not a single song in this movie that I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And then, you know, storyline wise, again, it feels really insular. It doesn't feel like too much happens. It all kind of takes place in this one house, and the main character, Mirabel, has all her siblings that they all have different superpowers because of the magic in the family and the Encanto. And they all have their different abilities, but you learn as the movie goes on that their abilities aren't as good as they seem. For example, there's the sister who has the super strength. She sings a song about, you know, the responsibility that gives her in the family, and she has to be so responsible, and it's hard, and she feels like she's letting people down. The sister who thinks that she's like the beautiful one, I think, like she's the perfectionist one. Her power is like flowers and beauty and everything, and she has to be so perfect all the time, and she learns throughout the movie not to be perfect. But I just thought, so transparent and so see-through. Like, what's the complexity of this film? What is this, like, what am I supposed to care about in this? I don't know. It didn't feel like you got enough time with any of these characters to actually care about them when these moments of realization occur. And I think, yeah, like, you kind of know they're in the movie, but it's so much focused on Mirabel, and then she just goes to her strong sister, who by all accounts seems to be doing just fine until this point where we get to this song and she starts singing about all her troubles, and then we don't really hear that much from it again. I just thought it kind of missed the mark on so many different points. And at no point did I feel immersed in any way by this movie. I just felt like bored. There was one point where I cried in this movie. I'm going to find the name of this kid. The little kid. Antonio Madrigal, the little boy. Something about like the innocence of this boy's face, because, you know, what happens in this movie is everyone goes when they get to a certain age and gets their superpower or their gift. And Mirabel never gets one. She doesn't have a superpower. But I guess at the end of the movie, we're supposed to believe that it's actually family that is the true superpower. The little boy is scared that the same thing's going to happen to him. And I gotta praise the animation, because like the innocence and the expression in his eyes of this fear, this childhood fear, burst me into tears. I couldn't hold it back. And it's not often I do that. It's happening more as I get older, but yeah. Overall, I don't know. Don't know how to feel about this. Certainly wouldn't watch it again. Definitely one of the weakest. I haven't really been too impressed with Disney's output the last few years. I didn't think Raya was that good retrospectively. Frozen 2 I didn't think was very good at all. Ralph Breaks the Internet I thought was pretty average. Moana, great. Big Hero 6, great. Frozen, great. Wreck-It Ralph, great. Zootopia, terrible. Tangled, great. That's kind of like the last 10 years of Disney original movies. I feel like Pixar's latest, Luca, was incredible. I really liked Luca. Didn't think Soul was that good. Onward was average. Toy Story 4, retrospectively, I think was average. Incredibles 2, I didn't like. Coco, I loved. So again, I don't really know. I just didn't... Encanto didn't quite do it for me. Encanto can't be a good movie to me, because I just didn't particularly enjoy it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. I'd love to know your thoughts. RadioMikePod@gmail.com. Send me a message. And thanks for checking out this feed where I just do little things like this. What did you think of Encanto? Yeah, just let me know what you thought. I'd be interested if someone disagrees with me. Like, did people like the soundtrack? To me, the soundtrack was pretty pathetic and not very good at all. But positives, definitely the diversity, the representation, strong female characters I've been really enjoying in Disney movies. I think that's very important as well. Kind of doing a reversal of that classic Disney princess trope being the damsel in distress. I think we're much further past that, and I like that very much. But yeah, animation, incredible. Thematically and musically and screenplay, pretty average. Didn't think it was that good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks.